Look at him, the alpha chimpanzee, the most intelligent animal in the jungle, at the absolute peak of the food chain. He has no natural predators here. He commands an army of 30 highly coordinated fighters. He controls the richest territory in the forest. So, why does he look completely exhausted before the sun has even fully risen? We like to think of high intelligence as the ultimate evolutionary shield, a biological guarantee of survival. But data from primatologists studying alpha males reveals a shocking problem. The resting stress hormone levels in this dominant leader are catastrophic. His cortisol is spiking. His heart rate is elevated. He is suffering from chronic physical exhaustion. Not from running, not from starving, and not from hiding from predators. He is exhausted from the sheer psychological terror of managing his own subordinates. Being the smartest animal in the jungle is actually a massive evolutionary disadvantage when the rules of the ecosystem change, because high intelligence creates complex politics, and politics create deep, inescapable vulnerabilities from within. To understand the curse of the primate brain, you have to watch it work. High in the canopy, a hunt is beginning. A troop of colobus monkeys has been spotted. What happens next is not a random chase. It is a masterclass in tactical warfare. The chimpanzees communicate with silent, deliberate eye contact. They do not make a sound. They assign specific roles. Drivers flush the prey forward through the branches. Blockers cut off the escape routes. The ambushers wait in total silence. It is a flawlessly executed operation. The colobus monkey doesn't stand a chance against this level of coordinated strategy. When we see this, we see family. We see a cooperative society functioning like a well-oiled machine. We assume this unity is their greatest strength. But the moment the kill is made, the illusion shatters. The teamwork evaporates instantly. The chimpanzees gather around the prize. Watch their eyes. Watch the tight, suffocating close-ups of nervous faces. Listen to the sudden, erratic screaming. This is a family sharing a meal. This is a high-stakes political negotiation. The alpha takes control of the meat. He doesn't eat it all himself. He weaponizes it. He gives a piece to a strong young male to buy his loyalty. He aggressively denies a piece to a rival, publicly humiliating him in front of the troop. Every calorie distributed is a calculated move to prevent a coup. This level of extreme social calculation requires a biological supercomputer, the chimpanzee brain. But brains are wildly expensive. Maintaining this cognitive power requires a massive, continuous intake of high-sugar fruit. The physical tax of simply thinking about who hates who is immense. The brain burns through energy just keeping track of the lies, the alliances, and the grudges. And the political tax is even worse. Look at the grooming sessions on the forest floor. It looks peaceful. It looks like genuine affection. It isn't. Grooming is currency. It is the mandatory maintenance of a fragile alliance. The alpha spends hours every single day picking to the fur of his lieutenants. He is paying them for their support. If he stops, the alliance decays. If the alliance decays, he loses his throne, and often his life. He is trapped in a system of his own making, a political machine that demands endless physical and psychological energy. Suddenly, the tension snaps. A subordinate sits a few inches too close to the alpha's prime feeding spot. The alpha erupts, a violent, deafening display of dominance. Branches are broken, teeth are bared. The subordinate cowers, screaming in submission, and quickly retreats. The peace is restored. For now. The outburst proves a terrifying reality. This supposedly cooperative society is always exactly one bad day away from total violence. The alpha knows it. The subordinates know it. The political machine works flawlessly as long as the calories keep flowing. As long as there's enough fruit in the canopy to buy loyalty. As long as there's enough colobus meat to pay the soldiers. But look at the sky. The wind is shifting. The seasonal rains are dangerously late. The deep green of the canopy is beginning to fade. The massive caloric fuel required to keep this primate empire from tearing itself apart is about to run out. The forest is quiet, but it is not peaceful. The Alpha is organizing a border patrol. This is the most dangerous operation a chimpanzee troop undertakes, moving silently through the dense underbrush, checking the invisible lines that separate their territory from rival empires. We assume this is purely for defense, a unified army protecting its homeland. But when you look closely at the data, the math of this patrol doesn't make sense. The territory is vast. The physical energy required to march for miles through rugged terrain is massive. And remember the primate tax. They are doing this while operating a highly expensive biological supercomputer. Their brains are burning through glucose at an astonishing rate, just processing the fear of an ambush. So why do it every single day? Why burn precious calories marching to the edge of the map when the most reliable food sources are near the center? Because how does a primate empire maintain its borders when it can't even trust its own soldiers? The answer is theater. These daily patrols are not just about intimidating the invisible enemy. They are about intimidating each other. The Alpha actively forces his internal rivals to march with him. He makes them physically exhaust themselves under his direct command. He is projecting strength inward. He is reminding every ambitious subordinate that he dictates the movement of the entire army. This was never really about defending a patch of dirt. It was about controlling the minds of the apes standing on it. It is a brilliant political strategy, but biologically, it is a devastating financial error. Think of the troops' energy like a fragile, heavily leveraged economy. Every day, they start with a massive caloric deficit. They must find enough fruit to pay for their giant brains. They must find enough meat to pay for their political alliances. And they must find enough raw energy to fund the physical toll of these daily border patrols. For years, the jungle has subsidized this extravagant, paranoid lifestyle. The canopy provided endless high-sugar figs. The budget was balanced. The politics remained stable. But look at the Alpha now. He is panting heavily. His movements are noticeably slower. The confident swagger of a king has been replaced by the heavy steps of a laborer. He pauses at the base of a towering fig tree, a tree that should be bending under the weight of fresh fruit. It is completely empty. The dry season is dangerously overextended. The climatic rhythm of the forest has broken. The invisible force of food scarcity has silently invaded the territory. The Alpha stares up into the barren branches. He isn't just looking at a lost meal. He is looking at a terrifying economic collapse. The calories going out are suddenly exceeding the calories coming in. His soldiers are burning thousands of calories marching the border. They are burning thousands more operating their complex, paranoid brains. And there is absolutely nothing left to replace what they have spent. Hunger aggressively changes the chemistry of the brain. It strips away patience. It heightens baseline aggression. The troop is physically and mentally exhausted. They stop resting together. The subtle, mandatory grooming sessions that keep the alliances glued together begin to drastically shorten. The alpha simply does not have the biological energy to carefully groom his lieutenants. And without that physical currency, the loyalty immediately begins to rot. He makes a critical, desperate choice. He attempts to rally the patrol to move further, to push deeper toward the dangerous edge of the territory in search of a late-fruiting tree. He stands up. He barks a sharp order. He begins to walk toward the border. But something chilling happens. Look at the second in command. A younger, massive male who happily accepted the alpha's meat just days ago. He does not stand up. He does not follow the order. He simply watches the alpha walk away. 3 other younger males stay seated with him. This is not laziness. This is the first true fracture in the political empire. The subordinate has calculated the cost of obedience and decided the alpha can no longer afford to pay him. The external threat of starvation has officially arrived. A lower intelligence species would instinctively huddle together. They would preserve warmth and conserve energy to survive the drought as a unified group. But not the chimpanzee. Their massive hypersocial brains simply cannot turn off the politics. The caloric budget has hit zero, and instead of uniting to fight the shifting environment, the smartest animals in the jungle are about to turn their weapons on each other. The forest is starving. The troop has one desperate option left to balance their ruined biological economy: meat. High in the dying canopy, they spot a small group of colobus monkeys. This should be an easy kill, a routine extraction of much-needed calories. But watch the execution. The silent, flawless military coordination we saw just days ago is completely gone. The drivers move far too fast, refusing to wait for the signal. The blockers completely abandon their posts. The ambushers scream prematurely, desperate to claim the kill for themselves before anyone else can reach it. The colobus easily escapes through a massive gap in the broken formation. The hunt hasn't just failed, it has been actively sabotaged. Why? Because under extreme resource pressure, the highly evolved chimpanzee brain does not generate problem solving. It generates crippling paranoia. If the hunt had succeeded, the alpha would control the distribution of the meat. He would use those calories to buy back the loyalty he is rapidly losing. The ambitious younger males know this. They cannot allow him to regain his political capital. They would quite literally rather let the entire troop starve than let the alpha stabilize his throne. This is the hidden curse of complex primate politics. When the ecosystem changes, intelligence becomes a fatal distraction. Energy that should be used migrating to a new food source is now entirely consumed by internal warfare. The jungle floor rapidly devolves into a war zone. It starts with small, targeted acts of defiance. A young rebel purposefully walks directly through the alpha's resting circle. He doesn't submit. He doesn't lower his head. When the alpha is too exhausted to punish him, the violence escalates. The troop fractures into distinct, deeply aggressive tribal factions. The alpha is mathematically outnumbered. He is powerful, but he cannot fight for younger, desperate males at the exact same time. So, when the political system collapses, who gets sacrificed first? Not the alpha. Not yet. The rebels' target is remaining loyalists. They want to systematically isolate the king. Watch this brutal, calculated ambush. An older male, one of the alpha's most trusted enforcers, is resting alone near a dry stream bed. 3 younger males silently surround him. They do not display. They do not posture to establish dominance. They simply attack. It is a coordinated, vicious, and deeply personal beating. The enforcer is overwhelmed and chased to the extreme outer edge of the territory. He is severely injured, but more importantly, he is politically exiled. The alpha hears the screams echoing through the trees. He knows exactly what is happening, but he does not intervene. His massive brain runs the numbers, calculates the odds of injury, and chooses self-preservation. But by saving his own life today, he is guaranteed his total isolation tomorrow. This is not a story about animals struggling against nature. It is the story of an empire collapsing from within. When the resources disappear, the system doesn't adapt. It cannibalizes itself. The Civil War is tearing the fabric of their society apart. They are screaming at each other. They are bleeding. Their stress hormones are surging to lethal levels. They are so utterly consumed by their own political collapse. They have completely forgotten where they are. They are on the ground, in the dark, making a massive amount of noise. Through the dense, shadowed underbrush, a pair of pale yellow eyes opens. A leopard, the ultimate edge predator of the African forest. Normally, a leopard wants absolutely nothing to do with 30 screaming chimpanzees. A unified, cooperative primate army would tear a solitary cat to pieces in a matter of minutes. The risk is mathematically unacceptable. But the leopard is a master opportunist. It watches the chaotic, erratic movement of the apes. It listens to the violent, distracted infighting. It notices the massive gaps in their physical defense. The predator doesn't see an overwhelming, intelligent army anymore. It sees a broken society, a group of highly vulnerable, isolated targets who are too busy fighting each other to watch their own backs. The chimpanzees think their biggest problem is who gets to sit on the throne. They are wrong. The jungle at night is an entirely different world. For a chimpanzee, darkness brings a terrifying biological disadvantage. Their daytime vision is useless. Their speed is gone. To survive the night, they must rely completely on their social safety net. But what happens when that net has been intentionally cut? Does winning the political war inside the troop mean losing the actual war for survival? The leopard moves with absolute, chilling precision. It does not charge into the center of the primate camp. That would still be mathematical suicide. Instead, the leopard exploits the political geography of the Civil War. It is specifically hunting the exiles. Remember the older enforcer, the loyalist who was brutally beaten and banished to the edge of the territory by the young rebels. He is sitting alone in the dark. He is severely injured. His body is shaking from the massive drop in adrenaline following the coup. He has no one to groom him, no one to calm his rapidly beating heart, and, critically, no one to watch his blind spots. Suddenly, he hears a dry leaf crack. He smells the unmistakable scent of the predator. Instinctively, the exiled chimpanzee unleashes a massive, echoing warning scream. It is a specialized alarm call, an evolutionary trigger designed to instantly mobilize the entire troop into a unified, defensive wall. In a healthy, functioning primate society, 30 apes would immediately rush toward the sound. They would scream, shake branches, and hurl heavy debris until the cat retreated. Listen to the forest now. Absolute silence. No one is coming. This is the ultimate, fatal curse of their extreme intelligence. The troop's highly evolved communication system has literally weaponized against itself. The alarm call is heard loud and clear by every ape in the canopy. But because the society is so deeply fractured, the truth of the call is questioned. The young rebels hear it, but their intense paranoia tells them it is a political trap, a trick organized by the Alpha to draw them down into a midnight ambush. They refuse to move. The Alpha hears it, too. He knows exactly what is happening in the shadows, but his massive, calculating brain runs a cold biological equation. If he climbs down the forest floor to save his former ally, he risks a lethal bite from the leopard. If he takes even a minor injury, he will be too physically weak to fight off the rebels in the morning. So, the king makes his choice. He sits in the safety of his tree, and he does absolutely nothing. The leopard strikes with terrifying speed, a brief, violent thrashing in the underbrush, a sudden, sharp choke, and then the sickening sound of a heavy body being dragged into the dark. The predator did not outsmart the chimpanzee. It simply waited for the chimpanzee's immense intelligence to become a liability. When morning finally breaks, the psychological terror of the night accelerates the collapse. The rebels realize the Alpha failed to protect the borders. They are emboldened by his cowardice. They launch a final, desperate frontal assault to take the throne. It is a chaotic, brutal clash of screaming primates, biting, tearing flesh, rolling violently through the dry dirt. The chronic stress in the last few weeks is heavily taxing the Alpha's reaction time, but he is still the king. He unleashes every remaining ounce of energy he has left. He channels years of ruthless combat experience. He physically breaks the resolve of the lead rebel, pinning him to the ground until the younger male screams in absolute, terrifying submission. The remaining challengers scatter. They flee deep into the trees, completely broken and terrified. The dust slowly settles. The Alpha breathes heavily. He is bleeding from deep gashes across his chest and arms. He has done it. He has successfully defended his crown. He has crushed the rebellion and retained total control of his empire. But look at the reality of his victory. His loyal soldiers are dead. His subjects have fled. The fruit canopy remains entirely barren, and his immune system is utterly destroyed by months of surging stress hormones. He has decisively won the political war, but the survival war is officially lost. Look at him now. The king of the ashes. He sits completely alone on the dry forest floor. There is no movement in the canopy above him, no grooming, no whispered alliances, no army left to command. He is the undisputed ruler of an empty, terrified territory. What is the true price of total dominance? When we observe nature, we assume the strongest survive. We assume the smartest outlast the rest. But the data reveals a far darker truth. For the alpha chimpanzee, the price of absolute power is biological ruin. Inside his body right now, the invisible consequences of his victory are taking a fatal toll. His resting cortisol levels, the stress hormones that have kept him paranoid and alert for months, have completely poisoned his system. His immune function is plummeting. His muscle mass is rapidly deteriorating. The massive brain that allowed him to outmaneuver his political rivals is now acting like a biological parasite. It is demanding calories that simply do not exist, draining the absolute last reserves of energy from his organs. We began this investigation with a single, highly counterintuitive question. Does extreme intelligence actually lower the chances of survival during an environmental crisis? The silent forest has given us the answer. When the seasonal rains failed and the fruit disappeared, a simpler animal would have immediately changed its behavior. A less intelligent species would have recognized the environmental threat, dropped its territorial disputes, and migrated as a unified herd. But the chimpanzee brain is a political engine that cannot be turned off. They are completely incapable of abandoning their social hierarchy. Even when the ecosystem is actively collapsing around them, they will spend their absolute last ounce of energy fighting over who gets to govern the collapse. Imagine the profound silence he is experiencing right now. For his entire life, he has been surrounded by a symphony of social noise. The constant murmurs of grooming, the aggressive barks of the Border Patrol, the reassuring calls of his allies. His brain is hardwired to process that social data every single second of the day, and now there is nothing. The sudden absence of his society is a psychological shock that his hyperactive mind cannot comprehend. He is suffering from the ultimate consequence of his own ambition, complete fatal isolation. This is the ultimate curse of the primate mind, the universal principle of survival. The greatest evolutionary strengths inevitably become the greatest survival liabilities when the rules of the game change. It is a devastating reality to witness in the wild, but it is also an uncomfortably familiar one. When you look at the ruins of the chimpanzee empire, it is impossible not to see our own reflection staring back. Throughout human history, massive, highly advanced civilizations rarely fell simply because an external enemy was stronger. They collapsed from internal political division during times of extreme economic stress. When the crops failed or the trade routes dried up, human societies, just like the chimpanzee, fractured into paranoid, violently opposed tribes. We spent our collective energy destroying each other from within, while the walls of our empires crumbled around us. This documentary was never really just about apes surviving in a jungle. It was a mirror held up to the fatal flaw of the hyper-intelligent mind. Intelligence builds the empire, but politics destroys it. A soft wind blows through the barren branches above. The alpha slowly lowers his heavy head. He is not scanning the brush for the leopard. He is not looking up to check the canopy for late-blooming fruit. He is simply exhausted. He has survived the Civil War, but he is a king without a kingdom, defeated not by a superior predator and not by the shifting climate, defeated by the relentless, consuming paranoia of his own kind. The intelligence curse proves that nature does not reward cognitive complexity when raw survival is on the line. But if high intelligence, nature's ultimate biological weapon, can cause a complete collapse of a society, what happens when an animal relies entirely on physical armor? Next time, we leave the primate political theater and enter a world of impenetrable shields. We will investigate how the absolute strongest, most heavily armored defenses in the animal kingdom eventually become biological death traps. Armor is supposed to mean invincibility. For millions of years, building a thicker shell was the ultimate biological cheat code. If you cannot be bitten, you cannot be killed. But the ecosystem is not a static battlefield. When the climate violently shifts, a heavy shield stops being protector. It becomes a prison. In the next chapter of Survival Brand, we examine the tragic math of the heavily armored. We will discover how a 50-pound shell becomes a fatal anchor during an unexpected flash flood, how impenetrable scales become lethal ovens during a hyperdrought. Because when the environment changes faster than evolution, the very mechanism designed to save your life is exactly what will kill you. The rules of survival are changing. Are you paying attention?